Texas wrapped up its spring game in the best way possible with no injuries. Rodney Terry is still waiting to make his first splash in the portal, and Texas baseball is preparing for the always important Red River Showdown. All this and more on the senior show of College Crossfire.
Yeah. In case, yeah, it's definitely muted.
No, that is a great answer. How dare you boo this man? Good evening and welcome into College Crossfire, the best collegiate sports debate show on the planet. Exactly. I'm your host, Tommy Yarrish. We've got a good one lined up for you tonight. It's our senior show on College Crossfire, so let's go ahead and meet our contestants. On first base, he's our executive producer and usually is back in the control room telling me what to do, but tonight it only felt right that he gets to come finish off his time here at TSTV in front of the camera. It's Jordan Geelhoed. What's up, Jordan? How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. Yeah, as you said, I'm usually back there, but now I'm right here, hoping to go out with a bang, hoping to go out with a win. Look at the shoes that I brought, all right? I painted these shoes. Look at those. Look at those. You don't wear those shoes and then lose, right? Okay, so here we go. Yeah, exactly.
But the beach drip, it's if you can't see, it's some sand, some waves.
Shout out Marcus Curry. He stepped on these shoes, ruined them, but it's okay.
Seashells.
Yeah.
Right? And then
palm trees over here.
Roses on the t-shirt.
I know.
Look at that.
Look at you.
Full tropical attire.
Looking good, my friend.
Doing great.
Great to have you here
with us. Yes, thank you.
And next to him on second base, she's typically helping us out behind the scenes as well, but we were able to get her in front of the camera for her last time on College Crossfire. It's Ceci Rodriguez. How's it going, Ceci?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be on for one last time. Let's go out with a bang, and let's see if I can actually compete with these dudes over here.
Who says you can't? And last but certainly not least, on third base, he's woken you up on Friday mornings with a 1-0 sports show. It's Adam Ogburn. Welcome, Adam. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Tommy. It feels good to be on, and it feels good to be alongside these two panelists. So we spent a lot of time here at TSTV and the HSM, so it's going to be fun competing against them tonight.
Very wholesome. We're so happy to have all three of you here with us tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. Texas played their annual orange-white spring game this past Saturday and reverted back to the original format after a lack of offensive line depth last season for Steve Sarkisian, so that caused him to switch the style up a little bit. In the first look at this Texas team, what was your biggest takeaway? Jordan, you start us off.
I think my biggest takeaway, I know that everyone was looking at the quarterbacks, Arch Manning, Malik Murphy, how are they going to perform? But I think my biggest takeaway is that if Texas plays this right, they could have potentially the best wide receiver trio of the entire country, right? You got Xavier Worthy returning for his third year after, a brief, stint. Maybe he's going to transfer, maybe he's going to not. We'll see. But he caught that long ball from Quinn Ewers, which is great because they haven't really connected in previous, especially last season, 2 drops in the Alamo Bowl. Come on, Xavier Worthy. But he caught the one at the spring game, which is nice. A.D. Mitchell, the transfer from Georgia, he had that amazing one-handed grab in the end zone. So nice, you got to play it twice. And Jonte Cook as well, the true freshman, only 18 years old, still caught the really long bomb, the big reception after catch touchdown from Malik Murphy. I think that Texas, again, if Quinn Ewers can establish a connection with these receivers as well as J.T. Sanders, as well as Cedric Baxter or Jaden Blue or, whoever the running back is, running back by committee, that's going to be really scary offense for opposing defenses to face this year. So I think that the receivers are the thing that stood out to me the most.
Yeah, and the depth of that wide receiver room. Don't forget, you still have Jordan Whittington and Isaiah Nayer, who's nursing back an injury. So the wide receiver depth only gets deeper for this Texas team. Ceci, continue on.
I think it was a very promising spring game. We saw a lot, and Sark really did. He very vanilla played it, which we're always going to see. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was there was a lot of controversy around the quarterback spot, and I think it really sealed the fact that we know Manning is way too inexperienced at this point. He's what, 17 at this? they really sealed the fact that he's not really going to be in competition. There's no Quinn Ewers, there's no Manning competition. Malik Murphy balled out, which was really, really exciting to see because I think we've been wanting to see that since last season, and it was just so sad that he got hurt. So we really saw a very good second string option if something like last season happens where Quinn Ewers goes down. So there's a good backup option, and Texas fans aren't scared for what's going to happen. And I think this season just feels secure. The defense looked good, and I think that it was very promising. So excited to see what happens in the fall.
Absolutely. Good to see Malik Murphy take that stride. You mentioned the injuries that he's been struggling with since the state championship game his high school year, where he suffered a serious leg injury that kept him out most of his freshman year. He missed the first week of spring camp. He comes out the rest, plays well, shows out in the spring game. So great to see him on the field again, and great to see him throwing the ball around again pretty well. Adam?
Yeah, building off of what Ceci said, I think the biggest takeaway for me was the depth that Texas had in the backfield. First of all, it was good to see Malik Murphy complete a couple of deep balls. He put one on the money that DeAndre Moore dropped, and then the next play was able to connect with Jonte Cook for the 80-yard touchdown. So really reassuring for Texas that if something happens to Quinn Ewers, either injury-wise or struggling in game, Malik Murphy is another viable option for them. Very physical, kind of dual-threat guy. Could be interesting to see him in game action this year. But I think also you got to look at the running back position. How about Savion Red? He looked really, really good out of the backfield. Had a couple of electric plays, looked really shifty. Had a hard-fought 1-yard gain on a 4th and 1. Jaden Blue had a physical 30-yard touchdown where he was bouncing off tacklers. Cedric Baxter had a touchdown as well. He looks very big. Sarkisian said he doesn't look like a freshman. And then that's not even counting Jonathan Brooks and Keelan Robinson. They didn't play at all. So not only is the receiver room deep, like Jordan said, but the backfield that Texas has is really deep as well. So this Longhorn team, they've got a wealth of options at the skill positions, and I think that really showed on Saturday.
Yeah, depth is something that Texas feels like hasn't really had in a long time at those skill positions. And when Steve Sarkisian came to Texas, obviously the bigger issue was the lines of scrimmage. Now he's got a great line of scrimmage up, especially on the offensive side. You have guys like Kelvin Banks, who has played phenomenally well, especially in his freshman season. They're loading up on the D line now, getting some transfer targets in as well. We'll see if that translates to the skill positions and they start playing better this year.
I agree, Tommy. Great point.
Yes, very great point.
Nice try. You're still getting the 2 on this one. Ceci gets the 3, and Adam gets the 1 here to start. Don't judge me yet, Ogburn. I know what you're thinking.
This is about Will Levis, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, they don't know about that yet. They got to find out Monday on College Press Box. Since being hired as the head coach for Texas, Rodney Terry has had 4 departures to either the transfer portal or the NBA draft. Now, with some decisions still to be made and collegiate eligibility still in play for a couple of those players, the departures of guys like Marcus Carr, Timmy Allen, Serge Rice, and Christian Bissop for sure leave a lack of bodies on this Texas men's basketball roster. That said, who is a player that you want to see this Texas staff grab from the portal? Ceci, start us off.
I think the obvious answer is Max Abmas. I think if I'm saying Abmas. Okay, you see,
it's misleading.
It's misleading. Anyway, besides the point, Oral Roberts, I think he's a great fit here at Texas. He was here at the Dish tonight, so it's very promising, and I hope that Rodney really does get him. Let's go, RT. We really need him. I think that's the obvious answer. Obviously, he has March Madness experience, so it's not daunting to see the tournament play. So he's great. Oh God, points for I can't even think right now. But yes, I think he'd be great.
All right, so Max Abmas, the number 8 player in the 24/7 Sports Transfer Portal rankings. You mentioned he is on campus visiting Texas today. Shout out 24/7 Sports. Make sure to stick along with all the top coverage from the transfer portal. But don't put the fingers down. You listen. Edley Tamilian running the teleprompter back here, throwing the fingers down. You listen to 24/7 Sports. Come on. Yes, I'm calling you out. Anyways, number 8 player in the transfer portal. He's been crystal ball to Texas, as you mentioned. He visited today. He's visited Kansas State earlier last week, or this week, one of the either.
Come on, 24/7, man.
All right, buddy. I work for the Texas site, not the Kansas State site, okay? And with that, we transition to Adam.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be a copycat, but I got to go with Max Abmas. Yeah.
You're going to call me out?
He was the one player that I really thought of. And you look at what he did with Oral Roberts. He averaged 26 points per game in their run to the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. He averaged 22 points per game last year. And you look at what this Texas team lost with Serge Rice, with Marcus Carr. They lost some of their leading scorers on offense. Abmas, he's a bucket getter, can shoot the 3-ball really well. Texas is going to need offensive production at the guard position. And we saw how well Serge Rice worked out as a mid-major transfer. I think Max Aismans could be very similar, and I think he honestly has a higher ceiling than Sir Jabari Rice. You look at what he did with Oral Roberts. So I think Max Aismans, he would be a huge get for this Texas team, would be a big boost to offensive production for a roster that's looking really, really bare right now after a couple weeks of RT being in charge.
Man, that is a big statement that he has a higher ceiling than Sir Jabari Rice. I don't know how I feel about that one, but the scoring production is definitely there. He comes into this season leading all active NCAA players in points, so definitely would be a good addition to a roster that loses top 2 scorers at the guard position in Marcus Carr and Sir Jabari. Jordan, close us out.
Yeah, I think Aismans would be a good get. Rodney Terry, go get Aismans. But I'm going to go with Caden Shedrick, the center from Virginia, as my pick. I think that he also met with Texas this week. I think he might even still be here now. Who knows? He probably left this afternoon.
For a visit.
Yeah, exactly. Look, that's Tommy, not me. I don't have a job with 24/7.
Let's relax here, everyone. This information is public.
But yeah, I think that he would be a great get for Texas, almost a must get for Texas. You know, he's great at defending the rim, but also getting back in transition, scoring points as well. I think that Rodney Terry would really do well to have him on his squad, especially, I mean, it depends on what Dylan Dessou does, if he decides to stay or go, on whether or not Shedrick starts. But I think that either way, even if he starts or even if he comes off the bench, I think that he would be an amazing add for the Texas basketball team.
Jordan, I got one more for you. How about Justin Gooseman, man, with the way he cooked Tommy Yarrish earlier this year?
That's right, Justin Gooseman, man.
Are you trying to lose points?
Shout out Goose.
Okay. Let me
shout out Aaron Bella. Aaron Bella as well. Aaron Bella.
Hey, I gave Goose his flowers, all right? And I was with Aaron this weekend with Joe Duffy as well, who's, I don't know, I don't think he's here. He's somewhere. And we were playing together and we were talking about, man, we were getting wiped off the floor, and we were like, man, if we had Goose, maybe we would have had a shot at this. So Goose, stop
out Goose,
man. Come on and play with us next time.
I'll join if you join.
Back to the question, Caden Shedrick would be definitely a big add for Texas, especially because when you think of Texas the past couple of years, the one thing they've been lacking is size. So if Dylan Dessou does stay, that's a guy you can easily move from the center position to power forward and actually get stronger, because then he doesn't have to guard a guy like against Creighton when he had to guard Ryan Kalkbrenner. So now you have a 7-footer on your team who can guard those guys, have a little bit less leeway defensively. Jordan, you will get the 3 here. Adam, before you rudely barged in, you still got the 2, and Ceci gets the 1 here. Last question of our first block. Texas baseball scratched their way out of a series against Baylor thanks to a walk-off in the 3rd game of the series to win 2 out of 3. But the Bears have struggled in recent years, so this is a bit of a surprise for Texas. That said, what needs to be corrected heading into the always important Red River Series?
It all starts with pitch control. I think that's the biggest thing. The Texas pitchers have to improve on their command. 26 walks and 6 hit by pitches in the whole series against Baylor. You go to the game on Saturday where they blew a 9-5 lead and lost 10-9. They had 3 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and 3 passed balls. That's unacceptable in the 9th inning. That's in the 9th inning alone, by the way. This Texas team has to improve on their command. 12 walks alone on Sunday. I mean, the numbers are staggering. They tell the story for themselves. Texas cannot give Oklahoma free base runners or any team down the stretch. Pitchers got to improve the command.
And it feels like every time we've asked a question about Texas baseball here, even going back to last year, pitching is that one recurring issue that just can't seem to get fixed. So if Texas wants to be serious, make a run to Omaha once more, the pitching room is really going to need some development, whether that be, you know, going into the transfer portal and getting somebody recruiting better out of the high school level. Something has to change. Jordan?
Absolutely. You know, I asked TSTV Sports baseball insider Devaney Sarada about this question because I don't really know about baseball, but she said that depth in the bullpen certainly needs to be elaborated upon, as Adam said, you know, getting down in those 8th and 9th and those innings and not being able to strike out batters is super, you know, not good, obviously. And I think that as well as that, just cutting down on errors. You know, I mean, you can't have the bases are loaded and then, you know, you walk the batter, which happened at Baylor, and I don't think can happen. You know, making silly errors, you got to cut down on that. As long as you got the batters like Porter Brown and Peyton Powell batting like they are, you know, as long as Texas improves on defense, I think that they'll be fine in the Big 12. They're still first in the Big 12, so they're doing all right as of now.
Yeah, still a long way to go. We'll see if they can clean that up as well. Ceci, close us out.
Well, first off, Texas baseball isn't doing too bad. After the rocky start, I think they're doing pretty well. Their hitting has been consistent. We've seen EK, we've seen Garrett Gilmet, and we've seen Dylan Campbell ball out recently. Eric Kennedy most recently with the 7th inning home run that sealed the deal for the Baylor series. I think that their hitting has been awesome, not only hitting percentage, but home runs. They're doing great, and they just keep on adding those numbers. I will add on saying the bullpen needs to be more consistent. They have to stop relying on their closers to be consistent. They have to start relying on their starters to be consistent. I mean, you can't rely on Lucas Gordon to be the one to get you game one all the time, or the fact that Tanner Witt might be coming back soon. You have to start getting that depth in the bullpen better. Lastly, they have to stop giving up runs past the 7th inning or more. That has been their trouble in the last few series. If they can stop that, they definitely have a better run in the Big 12 and a better chance of getting back to Omaha.
Yeah, and that certainly lies in the bullpen. You know, you bring in your closers, they're expected to do the job. Just haven't been able to do that recently, so we'll see if that changes here.
They better be beating Abilene Christian right now. I don't know the score. Okay, now we're talking. Now,
if they blow that lead, there are some serious issues.
Don't you dare.
Okay, it's over.
Let's go.
Bullet.
Blow that cannon.
Texas. We're 3 questions into this one, and it's close, but out in front early with 7 points is Ceci. Behind her with 6 is Jordan, and thankfully in last place with 5 is Adam Ogburn, who is going to make sure that I don't forget that heading into our next set of questions coming up on College Crossfire. Welcome back into College Crossfire. Thank you for that. Quick score update if you're just joining us. Ceci leads the way with 7 points. Behind her is 6 is Jordan. And last but not least is Adam with 5. Let's go ahead and kick off our second block now with this. As most teams are now 2 games into the opening round of their playoff series in the NBA, which team do you think has been the biggest surprise so far? Jordan, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say, because you didn't stipulate whether or not the surprise was good or bad, I'm going to say as a bad surprise, the Golden State Warriors, I think, are a bad surprise in this NBA playoffs.
Justin Guzman just
Justin Guzman, you hear me, you know. Deep down, you know.
He's breaking all of our equipment.
Yeah, because the Warriors, they made the playoffs 8 out of the last 10 seasons or something like that, something crazy. They have experience. They should know what they're doing. And yet, they look completely lost against the Sacramento Kings. Draymond Green, I know that he's like his thing is that he's like big and brash and whatever, but you got to rein it in, come playoff time. And I think it's got to the point where his talking has kind of become a distraction, And I think as we've seen, the Draymond Green show, by the way, was not aired aired last night after he got ejected, or what? Not last night. Whatever. The night he got ejected, it didn't get aired because I think that it's become a distraction, and I think that the Warriors need to pull it together because you can't be having ejections of one of the players that's the lifeblood of your franchise. You know, you can't be having silly fouls and stuff like that, and you can't be relying on Steph Curry, as great as he is, to bail you out every game. Sacramento is better than people give them credit for because, I mean, I know that even though they were the 3 seed, they were somewhat of an underdog. I think that the Warriors, they kind of got blindsided by Sacramento, thinking that they wouldn't have maybe taken this playoff matchup seriously or something like that. I don't know. But the Warriors, it's not looking good for them right now. The first time they've been 0-2 since 2007, and, you know, even though I said different on Press Box, I think this series might be going to the Kings.
I don't blame you because right now, Cy-Fair ISD legend De'Aaron Fox is owning the Warriors. Sacramento is rocking. It's so great to see that city be revitalized with this team. Ceci?
Well, I'm going to go with the good surprise in the Sacramento Kings. Like you said earlier, it was definitely an underdog team. I don't think Golden State expected that at all. And you got to remember, this isn't the same Golden State team that's won the 4 championships. This isn't that same team. So I think good surprise, Sacramento Kings. And I'm saying this because JD at work won't stop talking about the Sacramento Kings, and I've had to share the desk next to him for the past 2 weeks, and all he talks about is the Sacramento Kings. So at this point, I have to say the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, absolutely, and Light the Beam is one of the best things in the NBA right now. But it is odd because the Warriors returned so much production from last year, and now they're just bad.
Exactly.
It's just like, what happened? What happened? No defense.
Nothing.
Draymond Green has started a podcast and is getting suspended left and right. I mean, it's just pandemonium in San Francisco right now. Adam, closes up.
And that's why the Warriors are going to be my bad surprise, because you look at it, you look at just these teams. I think the Kings have honestly surprised me just because you look at teams like the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves that don't necessarily have that playoff pedigree, and you don't expect them to come out and win series. Well, the Warriors do. I mean, they've been in the finals so many times this past decade, and now they're down 0-2 against a Kings team that hasn't tasted the playoffs in 16 years. And you look at this Warriors team, they've been horrific on the road this year, 11-30. They've only shot 32% from 3 in the first 2 games of this series. Jordan Poole had 4 points, only 4 points in game 2. That's not going to get enough. I mean, Andrew Wiggins, he's even back right now. So this Warriors team is stronger than they were at the end of the regular season, and they're still down 0-2 against a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for 16 years. You see what the Lakers are doing to the Grizzlies. They've got that series knotted up at 1 unless they came back and won tonight. So the Lakers are taking care of business against a team that doesn't have much playoff pedigree. The Warriors are not doing any of that, and they're in deep trouble heading back to Golden State.
Yeah, and it's rare that you see those young teams do so well in the playoffs, and maybe this just might be a 2-game strong start, but nonetheless, the Kings are rolling, and you have something to add.
I'd like to point out Edley Tamilian, Warriors fan, is giving us thumbs down. You know deep down what your team is. You know. You were
very livid in the group chat.
All caps in the group chat last night.
No room to talk for Miss Tamilian there. We do appreciate her handling the teleprompter tonight, though. As far as points go, Adam, you get the 3 here. Ceci, you get the 2, and Jordan, who peeked at the answers early, got the 1 because of it.
Rigged.
So it's not rigged. You cheated. Similarly, the NHL has begun their playoff season as well. I have a feeling some of you will have overlapping answers for this question, which leads into who is the team to beat early on in hockey. Ceci, start us off.
So the betting favorite is the Boston Bruins. And while I wanted to do that originally, I'm going to go with the hot take. Going with the local state team, we're going to go with the Dallas Stars, because why not? Let's represent Texas. Let's represent Dallas. Come on. Let's get the Stars to take it home. Let's do it. I'm going with the Stars.
Yeah, with Ottinger in goal, anything is possible. He is phenomenal to watch, makes saves left and right. Lost the first game to Minnesota in overtime. I know they started that second game. From what it sounded like they started off pretty well. Not sure if we have a score update, but nonetheless, the Stars, who were in the Stanley Cup final last year, definitely a team to watch out
Bring
for.
it home.
Adam?
You want a storybook ending? How about Canada? They haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1993. Watch out for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl are 2 of the best players in hockey. And the Oilers, they got to the Western Conference Finals a year ago. They're swept by the Avalanche, but they know what to do in the playoffs. They put together a run last year. I think they go 2 sets further this year. I think they take home the Stanley Cup. Number 2 seed in the West. They got to bounce back just like the Stars. They got to bounce back from an overtime defeat in Game 1. But Connor McDavid, arguably best player in hockey. I think he brings the Oilers home. home, a storybook title, 30 years from the last time a Canadian team won.
Yeah, Connor McDavid definitely has been due for that Stanley Cup. He's one of the best players, I think we can say comfortably now, of all time. So we'll see if he can get that ring finally. Jordan?
Absolutely. Connor McDavid, great player. Edmonton Oilers, great team. Dallas Stars, great team. Boston Bruins, I know that they're the betting favorite, but you know what? I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to go with the New York Rangers, all right? Look, you don't have the kind of free agency that, or, you know, the trade deadline that the New York Rangers had. You don't sign Patrick Kane and a bunch of other people and not expect to go to the Stanley Cup final, right? I know Blackhawks legend Patrick Kane. Absolutely. You know, I think that Tommy is a little bit partial to him, but I think that it's due time for the New York Rangers to bring back the Stanley Cup to New York. Shout out Matt Marinchak. You know, I know that you're waiting for it, and so I think that it's time for the New York Rangers to bring it back. Stanley Cup. I want to see Patrick Kane once more time, you know, do a keg stand in that cup.
Absolutely, and as much as I would love to see that for Kaner, I would hate to see him do it in New York. But nonetheless, they did make some moves at the trade deadline. We'll see if that ends up helping him out. Good answers once again across the board, and we're through 2 sets of questions. At the top of the board, tied with 11 points are Ceci and Adam, and behind them with 8 is Jordan. Yeah, Jordan fumbling the bag here as we head into the third round. But remember, all of that can change in an instant. As you can tell, the rapid fire round is next on College Crossfire. Let's go!
I haven't even
anything. It's time for the last 3 questions of the night for us here on College Crossfire, and you know what that means. It's the rapid fire round where the points are double, so it's anyone's game. If you're new to the show, rapid fire is our 3rd and final segment where our contestants will have to answer just 3 questions just like they have the last 2 rounds, but this time they'll have no idea what I'll be asking. Everything is off the dome. They say defense wins championships. That's not true. Rapid fire wins championships. Let's find out who tonight's champion will be. Here we go. Similarly to our alumni show last week, we're going to keep our rapid fire questions reflective so that you can all close out your careers here at TSTV remembering your fondest moments. So, to start, as you wrap up your careers here at TSTV and head on into the real world, what was your favorite moment as a member of TSTV Sports? Anybody can start us off. Look at young Ogburn out there.
Young Ogburn. That was like 3 weeks ago. That was like 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
The disrespect.
I'm calling you young. I'm saying you're a fossil.
Okay, I guess I'll go 2. I definitely think my first football game covering my first football game to cover was something really fun, and it was a dream come true for me, just being able to step on the field and cover the team that I'd been following my whole life and loved my whole life. So that was definitely one of my favorite TSTV moments, and then I had my little name tag in the press box, which was super fun. So that has to be one of my favorites, and then obviously our Halloween episode on Crossfire this past semester was probably one of my favorites, and that was really fun to do. So those have to be my top 2.
Two very fun moments for you at TSTV. Next we'll go to young Ogburn.
Yeah. So going on to Ceci, I say one of my favorite moments was definitely actually this past year getting to cover the Texas Gonzaga game with Jason Canander. That was a lot of fun. It was the first time I'd ever been inside the Moody Center. Atmosphere was electric, and it was just really cool to get the chance to cover such a high-profile basketball game and getting to post some of the videos we did on social media of our recaps and stuff. That was just a lot of fun. And then for me, just the 1-0 Sports Show has been very special, just the TSTV memories there. And I think the B block with the highlights, laughing so hard that I'm crying on set. At some of the highlights we had, those are probably definitely my favorite moments. It's just the amount of laughs on the 1-0 Sports Show.
No better way to start your morning than on the 1-0 Sports Show. So
Very true.
All the moments that you've given us this past year and last year as well. Jordan?
Absolutely. I'm going to continue with the trend and go with the football game. I'm going to say the Texas-Alabama football game, which I also covered with Jason Canander. That was just, yeah, I know, popping up like crazy. Senior next year, absolutely. No, that was, like, I've been in DKR before in crazy environments. That was a crazy DKR environment, especially on the field. Texas versus Alabama was an insane energy. And even though we didn't end up winning that game, you know, I mean, it was amazing to do. And also, I always remember my first Crossfire win. It was so long ago. Turner Barnes was in the host chair, which I don't even think you know Turner Barnes.
Unfortunately, don't.
Yeah, and I was talking about Sam Darnold back when he was on the Jets. I remember that. So, yeah,
Dig for those hot
first
takes.
Crossfire win embedded into my brain, as well as the Alabama game.
Alabama game was definitely special for me to witness this year too. So great answers across the board there. And to follow up, we'll test your acting skills here a little bit. Let's say I'm a freshman here at UT that's on the fence about joining TSTV. Convince me to join the crew.
Okay, so if anybody went to the TSTV general meeting, I made a video convincing you why you should join College Crossfire. So I'm just gonna recite the voiceover from that video. All right, I'm gonna do this. All right.
How close are we getting here?
Let's see if I can recite it. Cut to camera 1.
Cut to the other camera.
Aram, cut to camera 1 now. All right.
This one? Which one?
Hey you.
There we go.
Do you like sports?
Do you?
Do you like talking about sports?
Do you?
Do you like annoying the people around you with your hot takes about sports?
I very much do.
Then join College Crossfire.
Seems
the
simple
hottest debate show on the 40 acres. Right? Wednesdays at 9 at the HSM.
You look sold.
Be there. Oh, wait. Do you like costumes? Do you like celebrations? Do you like winning? Be there Wednesdays at 9 at the HSM.
I'm sold.
Absolutely.
All right, that's about as good as a pitch as you'll find at University of Texas. Has just granted him an honorary advertising degree. Congratulations on that, Jordan. Adam, go ahead and continue us on.
First of all, shout out to 1-0 Sports Show. It's the best way to professionally screw around on camera. No, but for me, I'd say this is real world experience right here. You're getting the chance to cut videos. You're getting the chance to run stuff back in master control. You're getting a chance to run the teleprompter like our Edley Tremillion on your very own computer. No, but this is real world experience. Helps you get internships. I've gotten 2 TV internships out of this. It's helped me push me towards pursuing a job in local TV. So TSTV is real world experience, and you get to cover the best Texas sporting events: Texas football, Texas basketball, Texas baseball. It's gone to Oklahoma. Swimming's won like 40 national championships. You get to cover the best Texas sports. It's the great real world experience for sure.
So capital J journalism from Mr. Ogburn over there to continue us on. All right.
Those are very tough acts to follow. How about I just say, if you join TSTV, you can get to LHN. I'm just kidding. They're done. Bye.
Wow.
No.
Oh boy, somebody's boss is going to be upset when someone comes into the office tomorrow.
Let's go SEC Network.
SEC Network. No.
It just means
all jokes aside, if you join TSTV, you can meet some of the greatest people on the 40 acres and meet some of the closest people you'll ever be to. You'll get to be in some of the most fantastic environments in sports, whether that be the Texas-Alabama game or any big-time game in the Moody Center, which is incredible, phenomenal actually, and in DKR, under the stars, in the loudest place you can be in, just covering some of the best sports. That's what sold me, and being there, getting to be with people who are amazing every week, that's what sold me, and I think that's what's going to sell people.
Should you tell them about the press box meals?
Oh, yeah, don't forget the press box meals, except when they have Taco Deli, but everything else is good.
Moody Center, great meals. Great.
Yeah, and the talent rooms are awesome.
Too.
Yeah.
The brownies at the Moody Center.
Yeah.
The women's basketball SID like bakes
He
treats.
bakes
Oh,
for
they're delicious.
Jeremy Rosenthal.
Yeah,
Jeremy Rosenthal,
his job.
awesome.
Great answers across the board. All 3 sold me, so you could definitely take your advertising degrees when you walk out of the studio today. And last but certainly not least, we'll take a question right from last week's show here. If you could go back in time and cover one game during your years here at Texas, which game would you go back to?
I got one. Okay.
I already know what it is.
It's already going to be, so we already know it. Okay, so great. So if I could go back my freshman year and cover the 2019 LSU-Texas game in that roaring environment, I would die. Joe Burrow on the sideline within 10 feet of me, I would have died.
And
so, what?
And drooled.
And drooled, yes. And drooled. Come on. We all know me. Besides that, it was just one of the most amazing games to happen in DKR, one of the best seasons LSU had, but one of the best games Texas played that season. And College Game Day was there that day. If I could go back and cover that game, that would be the one I want to do.
Certainly a really good choice, especially that year with LSU doing everything that they did. Adam?
I'm going to steal the one from up on the video that was playing before. How about the Texas-Kansas basketball game at the Irwin Center? Texas came behind the last minute. I left that game early because my ministry had a meeting at 10 o'clock. So, God, I'm expecting some payback on that one. So,
Lord, what are we?
Yeah, so that's why I would definitely want to cover that one. Be there at the end, getting to see, just the Irwin Center come alive. Texas basketball, the attendance had been dropping, but then Chris Beard came in that first year. You could really see it. Just the interest around that program really grow, and I think it really culminated in that game. Texas students stormed the court. It was a really special game, especially with Texas winning dramatically late on. So I think especially because I wasn't there for the last couple of minutes, that's definitely a game I would want to go back and cover in that atmosphere as Texas closed out the Irwin Center in a memorable way.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the final roar from the Irwin Center before its storybook ending. Jordan?
Absolutely. It's hard for me to say because I think I've already been to the pinnacle, which is the Texas-Alabama game this past year. Yeah. But if I had to choose one, I would go with 2020, actually, the Texas versus Texas Tech game. I was in, it was a COVID year, so there wasn't that many people there, and I was in Huntsville, Texas at that time for some reason. I know the reason, but I'm not going to say it here. Anyway, no, it's nothing weird. It's just like, it's not important. It's not newsworthy, you know, speaking of journalism. Yeah, exactly. But no, that game was wild. It went back and forth, and it went to, what, like 3 overtime, something like that. It was a super close game. Texas, I think, had a 0.8 chance percent of winning from ESPN's like up and down graphic, and then they went all the way. And so, yes, exactly, the one up in Lubbock, where I don't even remember the quarterback's name, but he did the horns down, which was so dirty of me to do. I just got to do horns up right now because I just did horns down. Please don't screenshot that because, like, no, horns up. Okay, but I would need to cover that game because it was a wild finish, one that I would have certainly liked to be at.
That was an incredible game.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, so just as close as it can come.
Surprised him, y'all.
At the finish here. No surprises. It was a great show from top to bottom.
Doesn't get surprised over there.
This guy. All right, buddy.
He's the Tommy Yarrish, y'all.
Okay, no. Great way to close out the show, guys, but as you all know, there can only be one winner. Today's College Crossfire champion is Adam Ogburn, closing the book with a victory here. Carter, do we have time for FaceTime? Yes, we do. Adam, it's all yours.
I think my family's watching, so I want to shout out them first. They've watched so many, the 10 to 20 viewers that we get on TSTV shows.
The Ogburn family, I promise I don't. I promise I love your kid.
The 10 to 20, the viewers we get, though, they definitely pitched on that, so really big shout out to them. Shout out to Thomas Fitch, too, for letting me take over the 1-0 Sports Show. That's really been one of the coolest experiences that I've gotten to do here, planning that and some of the cool guests we've had on here. And then the biggest thank you is to all these people around me, Ceci, Jordan, Tommy, Carter, Edley, all them in here, and people in Master Control. Like Ceci was saying, you'll meet some of the most incredible people here, and it's not always, the shows are great too, but it's almost the people that you meet around here and you get to work alongside that fulfill you more. So there's a reason why we all come out here every Monday, Wednesday night, and Friday morning. It's because the people, and it's been a heck of a ride, and I'm definitely going to miss it. So I owe a whole lot to TSTV for sure.
We will miss you, my friend. So congratulations on your win. And before we wrap up our show tonight, we have one final gift here for our seniors. Take a look.
Good evening, and welcome to College Press Box. I'm your host, Ethan Ferguson, and she's Ceci Rodriguez. We've got a great show for you today.
Saturday's game is our men's basketball analyst, Carter Yates. Carter, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to College Press Box. This weekend, we saw Texas volleyball dominate Oklahoma 3-0. To give us more insight into Texas volleyball going into the spring season, here's Ceci Rodriguez.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me. It's March, and that means madness, but it's not only limited to basketball this time around, as Texas Longhorns volleyball is gearing up for another run at a national title.
On the 1-0 Sports Show, where we recap Week 0 college football, we look forward to the big games ahead this weekend, and Jordan Mitchell joins us to break down Texas football. All this and more coming up on the 1-0 Sports Show.
Cincinnati Bengals, they started the season aiming for the number 2 pick. They didn't need Trevor Lawrence because they just drafted the defending Heisman winner, Joe Burrow, at that time. However, their offensive line was in shambles. If you have paid any attention to the Bengals offseason social media, you saw Joe Burrow's sitting in the king chair, but the thing that everybody noticed was the giant scar running down his leg where he tore his ACL. So because of that reason, I think the Bengals are going to go with Penei Sewell over, say, Jamar Chase.
And on third, we have a newcomer, Adam Ogburn. Adam,
excited.
How you feel on your first show?
Hey, I'm hyped. Just like it's UTOU week, you can't not be hyped. So you gotta be excited.
Absolutely. All right.
Look, I'm not gonna pretend like I know anything about Ivy League football because I don't. But I'm gonna go with Yale anyway, just because I like Connecticut better than I like Boston, Massachusetts.
Dude.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. I could go. I think that Yale. They're a pretty well put together team, good on offense, good on defense. I think I got Yale. Yeah.
Excellent. If you can we cut to it wide? If you can do it right now, I'll give you the points.
If I can do the worm right now?
If you can do the worm and then the leg thing.
All right. How's the camera gonna see this?
Hey, you gotta go up front. There we go.
This is a lot of pressure.
Wow. Excellent work. Let's get a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't top that. Until this week, we're going to go back to the Pac-12. The best feat of athleticism I saw in the Pac-12 all week.
Yes!
We've got a fox on the field. But it gets better. So the fox is hanging out. It's still hanging out for a little bit. And then I think they start coming after it. And it takes off, man. This fox is not going to be caught right. There it goes. Look at this. It goes up in the stands. That fox is gone.
It's got hops.
I mean, imagine that fox running the ball, man. He's outrunning any defender, I think. So, really good Animal Central show and tell. I mean, who's getting this one?
If you're comparing it to sandcastle, the Lakers had one of the greatest sandcastles you could ever have on the beach. And also, the Lakers were also the waves that took over and completely wiped out that beautiful sandcastle.
Despite losing last week's bout against the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Texas Longhorns were able to bounce back efficiently this week against UTSA, winning tonight's game 41-20. Despite being tied 17-17 at half, the Texas Longhorns came out in the second with a new type of ferocity.
All right, I would just do the classic. I mean, I know it's an easy move for taunting, but it's a classic in sports history, the Iverson step over. You know, anytime when Allen Iverson hit that shot, I don't even remember who it was. Do you remember? Tyronn Lue. There you go. I knew it was someone from from back then. Anyway, when Iverson hit that and he stepped over him, that's the biggest sign of disrespect I've ever seen, and I loved it. And I don't know why the NFL is trying to get rid of taunting, because disrespect is cool. It makes the game fun, and stepping over an opponent, showing your dominance over them, that makes it cool.
It's the little thing.
Welcome in to the 1-0 Sports locker room. Last time in the locker room in 2019, and now joining us, Adam Ogburn. And let's talk conference championships. We're gonna go and we're gonna start. We're gonna break them down and give some predictions, and then we'll go and give some college football playoff scenarios. Let's start with the Pac-12. We got Utah, we got Oregon. Utah potentially a win away from a college football playoff, but Oregon trying to play spoiler. What are y'all seeing in this matchup?
Well, Justin Herbert, he's going to have to lead the way for Oregon. They're coming off that frustrating loss to Arizona State, which obviously dropped them out of playoff contention. So they've got a trio of running backs, really talented. So we'll see. Utah, though, has been dominating opponents in the Pac-12. You got Tyler Huntley making plays. So it should be a really good matchup Friday night tonight, so it's coming up tonight.
That's right. That is tonight. I forgot, man. Happy birthday to us.
Awesome. I know what I'm doing tonight.
I'm calling it now. They're winning the national championship this year. If you look at the Texas roster, like he said, they didn't really lose too many starters, this team, except for graduate transfer libero Morgan O'Brien. She played a really big role in last year's team. So that would be the only one that comes to mind. But the heartbreak on their faces last year said it all. They were coming to avenge that loss, and they're going to do it. So
this team kind of feels like it's kind of depressed and a little uninspired. The first half, Longhorns can beat any team in the country. We've seen that with performances against Oklahoma, even Baylor last week and Oklahoma State. But in the second half, they just kind of seem to get complacent with a large lead, and so they're just kind of letting these small cracks form in the offense and the defense, and it's showing up in the final
circuit of the Americas, and all began earlier this afternoon with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. In that race, Zane Smith took advantage of a timely caution before literally burning it down.
I'm gonna talk to my family later on, but if I'm gonna go with someone I don't talk to every day. I want Matthew McConaughey on the line to talk to me, because I want him to get my head right. I want him, and I want McGregor behind him. Because I want two different auras. I want McConaughey, like wholesome. His quote is, be less impressed and be more involved. After a big dub, I don't want to just sit on it. I want to keep going. I want to cement my legacy as the greatest ever. I want him to get in my head like, hey, you won this, but you're going to win more. Keep at it. And then McGregor, double champ, I do what I want. So there you go.
You heard it here first from Hunter. Book your plane tickets to Omaha today.
Second base, she also helps out a lot behind the scenes and talks volleyball from time to time for us on College Press Box. Unfortunately, joining us today without her brother Eric and dog Colt, it's the great Ceci Rodriguez. How's it going, Ceci?
Well, that's an intro. I'm doing great, actually. I'm dressed up as the best quarterback in 2019, Mr. Joe Burrow himself, who won a ring, I will say. Sadly, not last year, but whatever. I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be here.
Carter, your answers are always consistent in their merit, and we're on to you next.
No pressure.
He's blushing, ladies and gentlemen. He's blushing.
I had it all prepared and you just threw it up.
I'm sick. Forget the candy. I'm sick of the people who give out apples and stuff on Halloween, man. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's Halloween. Give the kids the candy, man. You can fight health and stuff 364 days of the year, but on Halloween, just get the candies. Leave out the apple. Leave out the corn, too. Forget candy corn. Forget anything that has any semblance of being healthy. It's the kids one night. Give it to them.
Now, before we end our men's basketball segment, our very own Ceci Rodriguez was lucky enough to sit down with a pair of the biggest Longhorn basketball fans. We will play for you Cecilia's interview with the Hawaiian shirt guy and the extremely loud guy, two student fans who the student body certainly won't forget, even with the season and the Irwin Center being over.
It's a packed house in the Frank Irwin Center. As the ball tips off, the spotlight turns to two superfans who found their way to reserved front row seating and into closed team practices. Jonathan Stewart and Maman Ahmed, better known as Hawaiian shirt guy and incredibly loud guy.
You know, Sunday is traditionally the Lord's Day, and Kanye West, he's a bit of a Christian man. If you're familiar with Donda, if you're familiar with Jesus is King, if you're familiar with even the College Dropout, going back to his gospel days, you know, Kanye West, he can deliver a really, you know, grandiose, operatic, choir-type Sunday night football.
So we have our friend Ceci here. Ceci, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back on for the first time in a few weeks.
Let's go.
It's an open Friday for me, so I'm happy to talk sports whenever.
She's not camped out at Harry Styles this
Yeah,
week. She's making a living down at the Moody Center that week.
I'm Jordan Geelhoed. He's Adam Ogburn.
And for everyone else at TSTV, I'm Carter Yates.
For the final time on College Press Box, I'm Ceci Rodriguez.
I'm Adam Ogburn.
I'm Jordan Geelhoed.
I'm Carter Yates.
And I'm Ethan Ferguson.
Thank you for joining us and have a good night.
And a huge thanks to our class of 2023 here at TSTV Sports for joining us tonight. Congratulations to Adam Ogburn. I don't know where he is. There he is.
You can't get rid of me.
I don't want to either, my friend. You guys have been phenomenal. You've done so much for me coming in here the last year and this year, so I really appreciate all the time and effort that you've put in to not only my career, but everybody here at TSTV. We will miss you all very much. And a shout out to Samantha Pearl, who stayed up late last night to make that senior video, which is a very nice tribute to these guys and all the other seniors that we have on hand. So she also directed tonight with Justin Gooseman. Shout out to those two back in the studio.
Let's go.
And everybody else back there helping us out. I don't matter, so I'm going to let these guys sign off one last time.
And for one last time at TSTV, I'm Carter Yates.
I'm Adam Ogburn.
You do matter, Tommy, but I'm Jordan Geelhoed.
And I'm Ceci Rodriguez.
And we will see you next week for the Tournament of Champions. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.